Wonder Woman is the fourth movie in the DC Extended Universe and the first standalone movie to feature Wonder Woman. Now, as you might have guessed, I was both excited and skeptical going into this movie. Because, let's face it, the DC movies that have come out beforehand, they're hit or miss, right? I mean, if there's one thing that we can all agree on, it's that Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Suicide Squad, not all fans could agree on them. Some fans loved those movies, some fans hated those movies, some fans were just kind of mad with them. And so finally, I was hoping that Wonder Woman could be the first DC movie that movie fans and comic fans could all agree was a great movie. And thank God, we finally got that. And yeah, you guys know how this process works. I see the movie, I wait about half a week so everyone has a chance to see the movie, then I spoil it up. So let's spoil it up. One of the things that I really love is the opening of the movie literally just tells how everything for Wonder Woman became to be. It talks about how Zeus created these female warriors called the Amazons to do battle with Ares to protect humankind from him. Because Ares' goal, being the god of war, was to corrupt humankind into basically trying to kill each other. Zeus, however, eventually defeated him. Everyone, however, knew that Ares would eventually return, and with that, Zeus left behind a weapon powerful enough to kill a god. And for a long time, the Amazons assume it to be the ceremonial sword that's left on the island with them. And of course, one little girl that's on this island that's very interested in this story and very interested in becoming a great warrior herself is Diana. Diana wants to train because she believes that Ares will return sooner rather than later, but her mother's very like, nope, you're not going to train. Ares is gone forever. You don't have to worry about that. Story's an urban legend. But behind her back, Diana's aunt starts training Diana to become the warrior that she is, and you see over the years that she turns into quite the badass. And then eventually she grows up and becomes really hot because, you know, now Gal Gadot plays her. And it's just really great seeing how strong she becomes as a warrior, but also just how badly she wants to try to help the world. And soon enough, that opportunity comes when she rescues Steve Trevor, an army pilot played by Chris Pine, crashes his plane into their ocean, which is just not supposed to happen because their island is completely separated from the world. It has like this protective barrier around it so no one can see it. Steve Trevor's plane just crashed into it, so you know, it broke the barrier, and now he's a man stuck on this island with these Amazons. Diana goes into the water, she saves him from drowning, but it's in this moment the Nazis have noticed where his plane crashed, so they go through the barrier. Wait a minute, this is World War I, not World War II. No, the Germans weren't Nazis yet. Fuck it, still calling them that. And now right here, a big battle takes place between the Amazons and Steve Trevor and the Nazis. And right here, it is really cool just seeing how powerful the Amazons are. I mean, without really much effort, they completely kick the Nazis' asses. But it's not until after the battle is over and Diana has lost her aunt to the Nazis that they decide we need to figure out who Steve Trevor is and how he got there. So they use the lasso of truth to get him to tell them what he is. Apparently he's a spy, he had infiltrated Germany, and now they were trying to kill him for treason. He tells the Amazons how World War I is happening right now. It's meant to be the war to end all wars. And the Nazis were after Steve Trevor because he had discovered that one of the German scientists is constructing this really deadly form of mustard gas, and if he can figure out how to stop it, that's gonna be huge for the Allies. And Diana is hearing Steve tell the story, and she begins to wonder, Ares must be behind this great war, so she decides she's gonna go with Steve back to the real world so she can help him stop this war, because she feels as an Amazon, as the daughter of Zeus, she's the one who needs to stop Ares from causing this war and having mankind kill each other. So here, the two of them make their way to London, and here's where a lot of the comedy really started to shine and really hit. Because at first, we saw Steve on this abandoned island that's hidden from the world, that's filled with all these women who are these great warriors that have never seen men before in their lives. So right there, you saw that Steve really felt like the fish out of water. Now that they're in London, Diana feels like the fish out of water. And it's just really funny seeing her try to adapt to the real world. I mean, she doesn't know what kind of clothes she should wear. She doesn't really know woman's place in this real world. Because this is the time when, you know, men were here and women were here on the totem pole in the world. So it's funny, when you see her speak up towards men, when you see her proposing these battle schemes and everything like that, all the men in the room will look at her and be like, who the fuck is this bitch? It's just really funny seeing how Diana tries to fit in with the world. It's also funny just seeing the conversations that she and Steve have together, because they really do have great chemistry in this movie and they make for some good comedy together. There's one moment in particular that I really liked. You know, Steve and Diana, they reunite with Steve's team of soldiers, and one of the soldiers looks at Steve and he's like, wait a minute, so you were on an island that is filled with women just like her, with no men? You tell me how you got there. You tell me how you got there right now. Cause I'm just watching this, I'm like, yeah, I would have probably asked the exact same thing. But then comes a moment where the action really kicks into this movie and it turns into a fucking blast. Steve, Diana, and their team, they're currently in no man's land trying to push the German line to liberate a village. And the Germans are just completely overwhelming them with everything. You know, Steve and his team, they know they have no chance of getting over to that village and saving those people. They're gonna die. I just love seeing it in Diana. She's just like, no, we're not giving up. We are gonna go fight this. We won't run away from this. Those people need our help. We're going. She puts on that little emblem thing you see on her forehead. She's like, all right, if you guys won't, I will. And she just storms into no man's land. And it's just awesome. She just storms into no man's land. All these German soldiers just opening fire at her. She's blocking them with her wrist. At one point, just using her shield to block a fucking Gatling gun or whatever the fuck it was that's firing at her. Just lassoing motherfuckers, using Krav Maga on these guys. At one point, just breaking a rifle with her fucking back. It's really awesome to see how much she kicks ass. Icing on the cake, though. There's a sniper in this tower that's taking out all of the allied soldiers. What does Diana do? She has Steve and the team just hoist her up. She jumps through this building and it just collapses with her collision with it. It's like, wow. It's like, yep, she stormed through no man's land by herself. By her fucking self. And won the battle. But now it's at this time Diana has begun to suspect that Ludendorff, the German general, is actually Ares and he's the one responsible for this war. So she feels that if she can kill him, the war will end. Of course, in Steve's case, he doesn't fully believe in the legend of Ares. He's like, killing one person is not going to end a war. That's not really going to solve anything. We need to focus on ending the war as a whole and doing it the proper way. But what I love is Diana just makes that argument to him. It's like, if this war continues, so many more soldiers, men, women, children who are all innocent, they're just gonna keep dying. I kill this guy, it ends. She's looking out for the greater good and it just makes you love her that much more. It eventually reaches the point where after Ludendorff gassed the village that they recently saved, and you know, Diana's now pissed at Steve because Steve didn't want her to go after Ludendorff that way. Now she finally pursues him and she kills him. But it's here she discovers that the war is still going on, so she's freaking out. She's wondering, like, how is this happening? I killed Ares. It should be over. But what I love seeing right here is Steve tries to give her this monologue, how it's like, we're human beings. We're not perfect. We have this feeling inside us, you know? We have an urge to go to war when things get rough, when things get scary. It's who we are. We're not perfect. It's who we are. We are imperfect. We're a species that just cannot be saved. It's at this point Diana really starts to question to herself. She's like, you know what? Maybe you make a good point. Maybe you're not worth saving. But it's at this point the real Ares shows himself. Turns out it is not Ludendorff. It is Sir Patrick, who is played by... Shit. What the hell is his name? He plays Remus Lupin in Harry Potter. That should be all you need right there. But Ares then gives her this monologue that I love, and he's like, oh, I just put ideas and inspiration into humankind's mind. It's ultimately their decision to act out in violence and aggression and go to war. And he basically backs up what Steve told her. It's like, humankind is inherently corrupt and violent. They're just going to destroy each other, so let's destroy them together and just end their species. And now she knows that she has to destroy Ares, and now they get into an all-out brawl with each other. And it also turns out that the sword itself was not the god killer. Diana is. She was the weapon that Zeus left to the world to kill Ares. So now we get this huge battle between these two gods, and it just kicks ass. What I do love is seeing how powerful Ares is. I mean, literally, he's just throwing spikes, shooting lightning. It's really awesome seeing that he's actually giving Diana a run for her money, because we haven't really seen that yet in this movie. However, as this battle's going on, Steve knows that the plane that's carrying that dangerous mustard gas that's about to be unleashed on the world, he needs to go stop that. So it's in the middle of the battle. He takes a moment, he speaks to Diana, he tells her that he loves her, he goes to board the plane, carries it off very high in the sky so it's at a safe distance. And what I love is he takes a minute, he stops, he thinks to himself, it's like, I need to do this. This is the right thing. He then detonates an explosive which destroys the plane, incinerates the gas, and sacrifices himself at basically the saving of the world. And it's seeing that Diana really feels that much more rejuvenated. She sees that there is selflessness in humans, And with that, she now just goes apeshit on Ares. And what I love, it's here where she begins to use the gauntlets that are in her arms to absorb the attacks that he's dishing out at her and then firing them back at him. And then she ends it all by absorbing all of the lightning that he fires at her. She shoots it right back at him and kills him. Now the Great War is over. And then the movie flashes back to the very present day. She's reading an email that's sent to her by Bruce Wayne. She sees that picture of her, Steve, and their group, which I did like seeing right there because you feel like that's the moment that really connected her into joining the fight that was in Batman vs. Superman. I mean, I don't know if that scene is exactly it, but it was nice seeing that they did use that to tie her into the DC Extended Universe. The other movies in the DC Extended Universe anyway. So all in all, I gotta say, Wonder Woman was awesome. I know a lot of people at first were very iffy to Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman. When I saw her in Batman v Superman, I started to think, hey, I think she's gonna do a good job. And in this movie, she has completely established that she was the perfect role for it. She gave it her all. She did fantastic in this movie. It's great seeing her story and becoming the warrior that she is. It's great seeing her story as she goes to the world and she discovers more about humankind. She was hot. She was a total badass. I love seeing how committed she is in trying to stop Ares from destroying humankind. Chris Pine was awesome as Steve Trevor. I love seeing the relationship he eventually develops with Diana. He brought a lot of really good comedy into this movie, which, you know, you expect because it's Chris Pine. I love that they made Ares kind of this hidden or background villain, if you will. You know, they have you suspecting it's someone else for a while, and then boom, it's someone that you didn't really expect it to be. The action was great. The visuals were really cool. I love seeing Wonder Woman with her powers. I mean, yeah, you saw that in Batman v Superman, but it's great to really see it in the forefront in this movie. I just love seeing the world that exists in Wonder Woman. I love that they showed the island that where she grew up on, you know, what the morals are, you know, how they become the warriors that they're meant to be. And in the end, I'm so happy that we finally got a DC movie that we can all agree hit a home run. Hopefully this means there are only more to come. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.